Ding, 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 ding. I think that is what our intro sounds like. Something close to that. I probably mimicked it perfectly. Thank you guys for tuning in to Two in the Cooler, listening to the podcast. As always, please share the podcast if you get a chance to with the people you love. If you like it, chances are they will too, so why not spread it around? Share the love a little bit. And you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter at Two in the Cooler, and check out YouTube as well. But first, we've got to talk about Instacart. Obviously, Instacart is the best way to get your groceries in 2020. Okay, they've got some of your favorite products from some of your favorite local stores delivered right to your door in as little as 1 hour, especially now that football's ramping up here, in the Buffalo area. Things are going very well right now. Now is the time when you want to start having those parties, and everybody is thinking that. So why, spend your time going and waiting in lines at the grocery store, looking around for what you... Instead, just use Instacart. Save yourself a little hassle there. And right now, Two in the Cooler listeners get free delivery on their first order of $35 or more. All you have to do is hit the link in our show notes, and you can get that deal. Guys, start using Instacart today. On the podcast, this episode is one that I have wanted to do for so long. I'm really excited about it. My oldest friend, Jake Lumadue. We've known each other since first grade. We have different tellings of how we met, but I know what the truth is and the correct one. And that's kind of a big point of this podcast, is that Jake and I do definitely disagree on some stuff. But God, I love him to death. It was so fun getting to talk to him, and especially, having Matthew there. Matthew kind of had to moderate at some points. But oh my gosh. Well, I won't say anymore. It's a great episode. Jake Lumadue, guys, thank you for listening. Let's get into the show.
All
right.
Is that good enough for you, Andrew?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Jake might be on a delay, but I think we'll be good.
The clap police over here.
Well, it helps.
Apparently, I don't know how to count.
You're just counting.
We're back,
that doesn't surprise me.
We're back, episode 26, 25?
26 and a half.
26. Why 26 and a half?
I don't know.
Because I'm half a human being to this guy.
That is true. So, now entering is this week's guest, friend of the pod, good friend of Andy's, son of Mrs. Goldberg from the Goldbergs, the reality TV show, Jake Lumadue.
The House Lumadue.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah.
So we were talking before recording. I haven't listened to any of these because I've listened to Canada's Voice for a lifetime. So I didn't feel the need to listen to it anymore.
Which is fair.
Yeah. No,
it's fair. I mean, yeah. I could call him anytime if I want to listen to him for 2 hours.
Well, that's true. We just the last week we had, or 2 weeks ago, I don't know, but we ended up talking for a really long time. But yeah, Jake's my oldest friend.
The Bev Goldberg thing is I haven't heard that in so long, and it's so accurate.
You want to know what's funny? Why I thought of it when I was saying that? So a friend of mine, so I've been to your brother's house.
Talarico?
Yeah, I had to stop by there the one day I had class, right, and then it was only about an hour till I had to go to the rink. So I stopped by there just to hang out for a bit. And then it was his 21st birthday the other day, so I saw your brother again. And actually, Mrs. Talarico brought it up to me because she apparently gets a good kick out of it as well because she puts herself on the same level. So for those of you who have never watched the Goldbergs,
it's a good show. It's still
I don't know
on.
what to tell
They're
you.
still kicking.
It's about a
It's still on?
It's still on.
Jewish family.
Did you know they had a spinoff?
Yes, with the girlfriend that's like a teacher. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
the Goldbergs got their own spinoff.
They got their own spinoff. It takes place in the 80s.
As they should have.
And
I feel
Barry, his girlfriend, the blonde girl, is a teacher.
She's in
And
college
it's about-
or something?
No,
Oh,
she's a
teacher?
teacher. So they're out of college. So,
Okay.
or wait, no, it's in the 90s. Wouldn't that be the 90s? Because the show is actually in the 80s.
Don't you think that the Barry was the one that should have gotten the spinoff, not his girlfriend, or even like?
Well, I'll tell you
I don't
what.
know.
The youngest brother. What's the younger brother's name? I feel like he
Adam.
always.
But that's
like
the,
I feel like.
Adam.
but
But
that's
he was still in the house for a while.
right, and also that's
He was the
like
main character
his,
of the
that's like
first
his
show.
Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't need a spin-off because he's got that show. But the thing with
Right.
Barry, Jake, is like that to me sounds a lot like when they spun off Joey in Friends, right? And that
Right.
didn't work. Like,
big
you
of a
just-
I didn't
Buffoon.
even
I
know
don't
they did that. I'm
Yeah,
glad
I
I
think
didn't
it
know.
was
I could have
on
lived
for-
my whole life without knowing that they did a spin-off of Joey on
It's no
Friends.
bueno.
I think it was on for.
If
only
you listen to
one
episode
season.
25, Jake, you'd know that we are not a friends-friendly podcast.
That's true.
New Girls is so much better.
Sucks ass.
New Girl is better than,
I was watching
than Friends.
as I was loading into the Discord here. I was actually watching New Girl and eating my pasta and meatballs. So I do agree that New Girl is
Oh,
better.
really?
What a life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not
I
everybody can
literally
do it.
lived.
What
Yeah.
do you got? What do you got?
I was gonna say my old roommate in Buffalo was legitimately Schmidt.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he was
also
very
live with
like,
Schmidt.
where's my driving moccasins?
His name's Alex Bauer, and he was on the podcast last week, and I also
Yup.
live with him.
That is very true. I am very
Well-
aware of Bauer.
Yeah, so I don't know how you've been, Andy, but I'll give a quick rundown of what I've been up to. I was very busy since we last recorded, and it all came to a halt today, because our hockey season was supposed to start today, and I woke up to an email notifying us that the school has decided, as of this morning, that they would like us to postpone just for one more week. Just for one more week.
Oh boy.
Our season usually starts in August. It is now October. We have worked very hard, my coaching staff, myself included, to get all these forms, get everything ready in order for us to be able to play, and they have once again postponed it to next week. So rather than do anything today, I sat in bed and felt sorry for myself and watched New Girl. And it was quite a good day. I think I deserved it. Maybe not, but
That's tough. Well, that's a slippery slope. I feel like if they said they wanted to postpone it like another month or whatever, I would almost feel like more confident
Better.
in that than them
yeah,
saying
because their reason for
that they just want to push it back another week, because that feels like a a bookmark for them to like keep pushing it back like that.
it's like when pilots are like saying that they're just getting ready to take off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
that. It's they're using,
Delay.
if they postpone again, I might go ape shit. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, it sounds like a kick the can situation.
Yeah, and that's the biggest
kicking it
problem is they've been this has been our start date for over a month. Like it's very clear. Like October, boom, and I know today's the last day of September, or maybe the second to last day. Is there 31 days in September?
I don't care.
No.
Okay, so yeah, so today's the last day of September. So we were supposed to start today so we can start our training camp and get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and before we start again next week. Don't laugh at me for not knowing how many days are in the months. I'm currently getting a master's degree, so I'm
Yeah.
actually more educated.
Only
than
reason
you
why
are.
I know I got burned at work for it today. That's the only reason
Okay.
why I know.
Yeah, okay,
Ooh.
that makes sense.
What happened? You got to
I have
get
another
those reports
Oh
in?
yeah, let's hear
Those
it. Now we
monthly-
yeah,
monthly
yeah.
reports.
Sure. Whenever you say, yeah,
He's
something like
worried that
that.
he's worried that his employer is listening. Now he's nervous. Now he's camera shy.
No.
But there was one other thing I wanted
I
to
would-
bring up. Well, go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry. You
go.
Yeah.
No, you go. No, go. I don't want to talk about work right now. Go.
Okay. He does not want to think about work. So, Saturday morning, I woke up with the intentions of, and I told Andrew this, there is an African lion safari type place about an hour away from Buffalo. It's called something
Malaysian
animal adventure.
lion safari.
Speak up again one more time for me, Andy.
Malaysian lion safari.
Yeah, so something like it's something animal adventure, regardless. So I get in the car with my girlfriend, my roommate, and another female, and I'm going to drive us there, and it's an hour away, whatever. So the second we get in the car, instantly very hostile. Before we even got in the car, once we all were in the apartment ready to go, I had a very good feeling that this was going to be one of the most miserable car rides of my life. It wasn't, I shouldn't say that, but it was just tensions were very high. So
what set the tone?
What set the tone was lack of excitement by certain individuals, primarily myself.
Oh, so there
had other people that were very excited.
So what you're saying?
Yeah, so I was kind of setting the tone. No. But I was in a good mood. I was like, hey, I want everybody else to go have fun, but I'm not going to come out here and fucking throw my Lion T-shirt on. And the reason that I was driving was because I don't know. The reason that I volunteered to drive was because I don't want to stick my hand out the window with a handful of food and have a camel come up and eat out of my hand. Like that doesn't interest me. I would rather stay farther away from a wild animal's mouth than, I don't know. Either way. So we drive the hour there. By the time we got there, people had begun to make up, right? Or not make up, but like the tension had began to settle, and we were like, all right, this is going to be really cool. But we knew that you can't like buy tickets in advance or reserve a time. You have to get there and just wait. So we knew that there was a potential for us to wait. We figured we might have to wait an hour, and that would suck. But we pull in, and I don't know exactly what happened. And I was driving, but the signage was not very good. So I skirt us in, and I pull around, and I'm right up in there. Like I'm looking, like I'm at the ticket booth. I'm like, I'm on the trail for the safari. I'm like, we don't even have to wait in line. This is awesome. Everybody get out your $13 and then $5 for the animal food, and it's going to be a great day. So I get up to the window, and they're like, oh, you actually skipped a few lines. I'm going to have you turn around and follow like the girl in the red shirt. So I'm like, damn it. Like I hate lines. I figured, I don't know, maybe you got to fill out some paperwork. So we get in line, and then there's all of these lines of cars. Some of them have nobody in them. Some of them have everybody in them. Some of them, like, people are standing around their cars. And I'm instantly like, this is not what I wanted to see. I don't know what's happening, but it's not what I wanted to see. So girl in the red shirt comes over and says, you're going to pull down this aisle. So we pull down this aisle all the way up to the front, and there's only one other car in front of us. And I'm like, holy shit, like, this might be big. Like this, and maybe I was right. Maybe there isn't a wait. I was wrong. I talked to the woman in the red shirt again once I parked my car and said, hey, just out of curiosity, how long of a wait do you think it's going to be? And at this point, it was 2:30. And she was like, well, like 1:15 probably. Mm-hmm. She was like, well, I've got to send this line. It's like, starts ripping. She's like, it'll probably be like 3.5 hours. She goes, I can give you guys a food menu, though. 3.5. I was like, so you're telling me I'm not even going to get in this bitch until 6 o'clock? It's a 90-minute excursion. So by the time I'm done, it's going to be dark out. I'm not even going to be able to see an animal. Then I've got to drive an hour home. I was furious.
So did you?
And then everybody's like, no. Then it's like, well, and then there were suggestions of where we should go to eat. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere to eat. I have other stuff I have to do tonight. That's the whole reason I didn't want to wait 3 hours. Like, I'm not driving, and then everybody wanted to change. And I'm not calling people out here because I understand I would have wanted to change if I wanted to go out too, but I had somewhere to be. So then everybody's like, well, should we go? Let's go change and go to New York Beer Project. I'm like, I can't do that. So they're like, all right, let's just stop and get fast food then. Not one single fast food place on the entire hour drive home until we got to Main Street, 3 minutes away from my apartment, where we pulled into a Wendy's and proceeded to wait 30 minutes in the Wendy's drive-thru. This was the day from hell. Not one thing could go right. So I order my spicy chicken sandwich, as does my girlfriend. Get up to the window. There's only one spicy chicken sandwich left. So obviously, being a gentleman and a scholar, I give my girlfriend the spicy chicken sandwich, and I would do that any day of the week for her. But then I don't even get my spicy chicken sandwich, so I just waited 30 minutes in Wendy's for no reason. It was a hell of a day, and I have such an issue with the fact that why can't I just buy a ticket online and schedule a time and show up there? Why do I got to show up and be like, and that's the problem. The place opens at 11. So if I got there at 2:30, yes, I'm late after open, but that's only 3.5 hours after they open. So, and I'm waiting 3.5 hours. What time do you have to get there?
You got to get there about.
Do I got to get there at 8 a.m.?
You got to get there about 9 o'clock.
Well, that's the thing.
I would just-
So they have a small
10.
animal petting zoo as well
Get there
that
the night
opens
before.
at 10. So apparently you can get in line and wait and go have fun at the small animal petting zoo, but then you have to be there before 10 and still wait for that. Though it's like very flawed system. I know I just rambled on for a good chunk of minutes, but
Yeah, that was
No,
a lot.
get
I
it
don't
out.
know.
This is what this
Yeah.
is for. Yeah, get it out. You're good. That reminds me, were you, Canada, you were definitely one of the guys that were like waiting in line for 3 hours for the Harry Potter movies, right?
For the movies? Well, you didn't have to wait.
Yes,
for
like the
movies.
premiere. Like,
But
what do you mean? You were in line, you were dressed up. What are you talking
I
about?
was dressed.
I know
up.
you were.
I went to. Okay, I got 3 waiting on Harry Potter times in my life. Or
Talk it
no,
out.
like midnight premiere type deals.
Avengers?
No, one was. These are all Harry Potter. One was Harry Potter and Half-Blood Prince. Went to the midnight premiere of that, and I did dress up. Like, I had a little stick because I went with my cousin. My cousin was dressing up with her friends, and so they gave me like this little stick for a wand, and then they had these like. They weren't exactly trash bags, but they were basically trash bags that you kind of like. They weren't quite rain ponchos. They were
Oh, you're Dementors? What?
no, those were supposed to be like our Hogwarts robes. And then
That's weird.
we went there, and there were these guys like basically trolling everybody that was there for the real premiere. And these guys were
was me.
dressed up in like these rubber wizard masks, and they had on like these terrible wizard hats, and they had towels tied around their necks, and they were walking around like this, like pretending to zap people. And so then I went to the midnight premiere of the very last Harry Potter movie, Deathly Hallows Part 2. And then I guess years before that, when the 7th book came out, last book in the series, and it was gonna be, released at midnight. And I wanted to go to Barnes and Noble because they were gonna, they were having this whole big. It was like a party basically for the release of this book. So
I recall.
I remember it so vividly, like begging our dad to like take me and let me go to this midnight thing. And I remember the TV show Numbers was on, and he was watching Numbers. And I'm literally on my knees, like in front of Numbers, being like, "Dad, please, like, let me go to this book." So he goes, "Fine," and we get in the car, and it's like 11:30 maybe. So we don't have a lot of time left, and we don't go to Barnes and Noble. We go to the number 2 release party in town, Kmart, and you see some like depressing things in your life, but you've never been to a Kmart at midnight waiting for one of the nerdiest books of all time to be released. So we show up at Kmart. There's 8 other people there sitting. I guess they had like a dining area at this Kmart or something, or at least they had tables set up, but it looked like it was like a Target snack bar type deal. Like they had like, I don't know, they were trying to be IKEA or something at Kmart. So
Swedish meatballs.
Swedish meatballs, I don't know, probably more like something more white trash, like a Funyun
Hot
and tuna
Pockets.
sandwich. Hot Pockets, yes, Hot Pockets, freshly microwaved Hot Pockets.
Fuck.
So there's like 8 people there, and there's one big Sam's Club cookie tray that no one has touched. There's no sound. There's no like music or anything. No one is speaking. Not even like in their little like groups. No one is saying a word. It's just sad and quiet in this Kmart in the dead of night. Midnight finally rolls around. There's one Kmart employee there standing next to this table with a pile of books, a pile of Harry Potter books. And it's got like this little Casio watch on. And midnight hits, and the watch beep 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 beep. The watch starts beeping. And he goes, "Oh, okay, come on up." And everybody lines up, and he just hands him a book. And it was so sad, but I was so excited that I did not give a shit. That was like the most. Looking back,
That story is actually way more depressing. That like
saying out loud.
that is extremely depressing.
So sad.
So I kind of missed one key part before I say what I'm about to say next. what was the reason behind not going to Barnes and Nobles again? Dad didn't want to.
Yeah, Dad didn't want to deal with the people, and
That's the most.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The man hates fun. He hates fun. Do you know how much last like that would have been so cool? And now you have one of the most depressing stories I've ever heard.
Once in a lifetime experience going to that. It's the last book. It's the last fucking book of the series. And you know where I got it? Kmart. That
Kmart at midnight. And my other thing is, how stingy was this guy that the 8 groups of people waiting, he wouldn't just sell them the books at $11.50.
I don't know. He didn't care. He was probably high out of his mind.
How long did you wait there? What time did you get? Yeah, he probably was. What time did you get to Kmart?
I want to say we got there at like. It's hard to say. We could have gotten there at like 11, but I want to say we got there about 11:30 or maybe a little.
I was just saying, how long were you sitting there?
At least 30 minutes, probably longer, but I honestly have no idea. I just remember how sad it was. Time kind of stopped moving with
Your dad is the quintessential let's leave early, beat traffic dad.
Yeah,
that's what Jerry gets off.
Not for sporting events, but like I do agree that he fits that stereotype.
Christenings.
Yeah. Like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
My dad's a giant. Timmy Lum is a giant sporting events. Let's beat traffic.
Oh, see,
like it could be overtime and shit. Like I remember, it kind of rubbed off on me. I did it once. It was like the Tampa Bay Bills game. Me, Jericho, and Kevin were like randomly driving. Like we randomly went one time and we left, and they came back from like a 20-point deficit, and we were listening to it on the radio. I'm like, why the fuck does anyone do this? But it was easy getting home.
Yeah, it was easy getting home.
Oh, we were alone on the I-90.
See, that's why I have a theory. We used to Darien Lake concerts is another place where it often pays off to be a leave early kind of person to beat traffic.
Or a bus guy.
However, yeah, and we were often bus guys. But we had a theory when we drove, and it was we would actually start with all the cardboard we could find in Darien Lake, we would start a bonfire in our charcoal grill. And there was a time, it was like 2:30 in the morning, and Darien Lake security came up to us and was like, you guys have to leave. There's not a single other person in the parking lot. There were several times where I waited so long in that parking lot, just doing nothing, just listening to country music, probably drinking, just waiting for there to be no traffic. And then somebody said it's time to go, and I hop in the car and we'd leave.
Yep. That's smart. I've never seen that happen. But I'm a big let's park in the regular parking lot guy.
Oh, okay. So see, I can't do that. I like to be in the thicks. Like, do you remember when we went to the Christmas Eve game, Andy? Me, you, and Noah. Yeah. When we went to the Christmas Eve game, we had the Christmas party at our house, and it took us so long to get out of the parking lot.
Miami game?
By the time we did. Yep.
That was a game.
We were walking and smelling like beer and charcoal and lighter fluid, and
that was. Yeah.
I feel like that's like a quintessential like Buffalo Kid story that you went to that game and you had to come back to your Christmas party hammered.
Yep.
That game was
I wasn't hammered. I drove.
That's good.
I was pretty drunk, and I just remember like we get to the house and there's like a ton of people there. You know, there's like 40 or 50 people, I don't know. And I just have to take a shower. I just went right up and took a shower.
Yeah. Me too. I walked in and sat in soggy Zubas, and like it looked like I just went through battle, probably some mud. But
Thanksgiving's a big one like that, where you're still drunk from the night before.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, I'm always a mess.
There's nothing worse than still being hungover, but knowing like this food it's going to be so good, but you're like, I just want to die. Yeah. I had a few. I actually had one Thanksgiving where I came home, still hadn't slept, and my mom was watching the parade already.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so I've been there.
Yeah. I had to puke in the toilet early, so I didn't ruin brunch on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you never want to ruin anything on Thanksgiving. These are really.
Will you tell the...
This is my favorite stretch of months coming up. I love Halloween. I love Thanksgiving. I love Christmas. I love New Year's, and it's usually hockey season Unfortunately, I can't play, and neither can the NHL anymore because it just ended. So it's actually just one of the most miserable times in my life now. But as I
Getting
battle
football.
through this season, I watch a lot of football too. Don't get me wrong. The Bills are what's keeping me alive.
That's facts.
But Andy, what were you gonna say? Tell the what?
I was gonna ask Jake if he could tell the ruined Christmas story. That's what I want to get into. Jake has so many stories. I feel like there's some he probably won't want to tell, but especially because.
No, I will tell every single story. I don't care.
Will you really?
Yeah. What's another one that you want me to tell after
Start
this?
teeing them up.
McDonald's
Start teeing them up,
story,
Andy.
dude. I love that story.
Oh, okay. So we'll start with. Okay, so Kevin and me ruined Christmas one time. We got in a fist fight in the AMC parking lot because I kept farting during a movie. So to lay this out, my dad's such a let's leave early for traffic guy that he likes to go to the movie theaters on Christmas Eve because there's no one there. There's 0 people there. You can just go
A lot
in
of good
and have the
movies
theater
come out
yourself.
on Christmas Eve. There's usually a good selection of
Yeah,
movies
but
that
you're
come out
usually
on
like we
Christmas Eve.
ditch the family party
But that's
every
not why
Christmas
they
Eve.
go.
They were like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah,
they
no,
go-
I understand.
So we go, and I think it was like the Angelina Jolie movie with the dude from World War II that gets stranded at sea. I think it's like Unbroken. So it was a bad movie. Everybody was like kind of soured off of that. So we went out to dinner or something. I kept like just ripping ass right in my brother's face and shit like during the movie. He's like, stop. And then we came to the point where we had to come to like after the movie, like this is when he's like 15. So it's right around the time he's getting bigger than me. I like bump into him and I like do it again. And he like tries to put me up against a car. He's like, this is terrible. And my mom is such a Bev Goldberg. She's like, you're ruining Christmas. That's it. You're all going to bed. My dad's such he's just like, it's 8:30. What do you want them to do? And we just sat in the car in silence. And then the funniest part is she's sitting in dead silence. She's getting the first one out of the car in the driveway. She's walking up to the door. We're opening our doors and stuff. My dad goes, wait. She doesn't have a key. Give me a minute. Let's see how this happens. Locks the door, locks her out in the cold, and she keeps trying to like pick her own lock. She was out there for probably 20 minutes. It was amazing.
I just can't believe that
It sounds really fucked up.
It is kind of fucked up. But just the fact that your mom like yelled at you, you're ruining Christmas. Like that's some like Griswold.
It's that simple.
Shit.
Kevin ruined Mother's Day because he showed up to brunch hungover. He started puking in the Olympia parking lot nonstop. Remember when he thought we had drinking problems when we were like late high school? Like when we show up and like Billy would be just like Billy was puking in like Firehouse Subs to like a trash bag.
Well, that's a classic. I've never seen something that color come out of a person.
I couldn't eat there.
That was crazy.
I couldn't eat there after. So
I still eat there. I love
like,
Firehouse Subs.
He was like a little kid, and he was just like when we would show up, it'd just be like, "Do you need some coffee?" or like something like that to sober us up.
Yeah.
But
Next
he like went up to my mom like a serious thing. Yeah.
Booze hound coming up.
Like, they're alcoholics. Yeah, your boy Tallarico is culprit of that. You guys are all supposed to go to Boots and Hearts together, I guess.
Yeah. So I knew Kevin was on the roster this year. Dom came with us for his first time last year. Boots and Hearts. Have I ever talked about Boots and Hearts on the podcast, Andy?
Yeah,
because that is
you said because you were talking about how it wasn't going to happen.
Oh yeah, because we went on vacation. Yeah. I forgot about that. Boots and Hearts, great time. I'll promote. That's the only free ad I'll give out is Boots and Hearts because my goodness gracious.
Whoa. Tijuana Flats, come on.
Oh, Tijuana Flats.
Oh yeah. Well, we're
friend of the podcast.
We're unofficially. Tijuana Flats doesn't recognize us as a sponsor.
No,
they don't recognize us as a sponsor, but we'll. What?
When we first discovered Tijuana Flats, we were in shambles somewhere in Orlando. I don't remember how we ended up.
I remember all of this so well. Jake, one of the reasons I love you so much is because I know that I make you so mad sometimes, and you obviously make me so mad sometimes. And I just love it about you because I know you're just gonna throw it. Like when I give you shit, you're just gonna throw it back at me. So
yeah,
we would go down with two other pals of ours. We'd go down to Florida during the winter break. Did we only do that? No, we went 3 years, right? Because the first year you came down when I was living down there. So it was that time, and we were going to go to lunch. And the lunches on this trip, they were visiting me for a week. And the lunches on this trip were a huge point of tension in this trip. Because going back to the Goldbergs, our pal Jake Lumadue here is a lot like Barry Goldberg, who has said, quote, about certain foods. What does he say?
I'm the world's most plain eater.
That is true. And the quote is, I've never had it, I don't like it. And that basically sums up Jake. So I was like, we have to go and try like these different places and just like find something like unique to eat. So I was this particular time, I think Lamb's was the day after. But this particular time we I wanted to go to this taco place that Lamb's was the day before because we couldn't find the taco place. We went to that abandoned building and we were like,
street
this
taco
is
place.
to be it. They had like different kinds. They had like these like Greek tacos and like all this really good stuff. I had been there before, but I didn't know where it was because I'm terrible with directions. So the day after, we find that place, but it's so packed. We're not eating here. We were looking for another taco spot. We find Tijuana Flats, a blessing from the people on high, which I think we probably sorely needed. And it was spectacular. We've never looked back since.
We have gotten into screaming matches, going back to you and me getting a. Remember that one time I went down to Fredonia our senior year before your birthday, before Fred Fest?
Yeah.
And it was just me and you. I randomly was just like, hey, I'm bored. Or like, hey, you bored? And he's like, yeah, let me come down. I'll bring a bottle of something. We'll just like chill out. We were eating pizza. And then this kid goes after my pizza palate with unmitigated ruthlessness. And I felt attacked, and me and him almost got in a fist fight. That was the closest me and him have ever come to blows.
Yeah, I would say
because he went after my pizza. It was just two full-grown men in an empty apartment screaming at each other.
What's your go-to pizza? Is that what you mean? Like your favorite pizza? Like
I was worried that
we were talking about because you know Maria. I knew we were going to go into this, and I know I'm not going to get into it.
We'll save that.
All right, so we'll save the other shit. But we were eating Maria's. You know Maria's, the place. This was before everything with like Sam too, when Sam got in that fist fight in front of him.
The place in Fredonia.
Yeah. So we got a full pie from there. We were just splitting, and we had like some Bacardi or something. We were just like, what the fuck were we watching? We were watching like Rick and Morty or something. And we just started getting to our pizza palates. Holy shit, we were. Yes. Okay, you go. You take it from here, Canada, because only you can attack me like this.
Like Jake said, this was maybe the biggest fight that we've ever gotten in. And so I was so worried about getting into this, but so Jake's family, for whatever reason, when they want to have
just from the start, does not sound disrespectful. Your entire family. I'm gonna organize you into your family.
So they're like special pizza place. Like if they want to have like really good pizza, quote unquote, is Lenova's. And so when I would go over there as a kid, sometimes that's what we would eat for dinner. Is they would order from Lenova's, and that we'd have. My issue is that there's so many pizza places around our area, and Lenova's sucks. Lenova's, I'm just going to straight out say it. Lenova's is terrible pizza. It is.
Says the kid that idolizes Dave's sorry pizza because you worked there.
Shove it up your ass, buddy. Because Dave's was
so
great pizza.
Okay, wait.
Because Dave's had the best pizza.
No, I have to cut in.
Cut in because you're biased.
Dave's, without a doubt. Here's the thing. I will say, because I don't mind Lenova. Lenova's a little thicker.
It's not my special pizza either way.
Okay, I'm not done. I'm not done.
Once in a while.
Jake, calm down.
Which is
Jake,
special.
Calm down. Andrew, calm down. Everybody calm down. I will eat Lenova. It's a little bit thicker. They don't really have the cup and char pepperoni, which is a big selling point on a lot of buffalo pizza that I love. But I will eat Lenova. My problem with Lenova, very overpriced pizza. They play on the brand of Lenova. People assume that's the best pizza in Buffalo. It's not. Dave's Pizza, if you got a half tray of pizza from Dave's, it was the perfect pizza. The dough was perfect, crispy on the bottom, perfect amount of sauce, perfect amount of cheese, cup and char pepperoni. The crust had almost a garlic bread type seasoning, oiled and buttered on there.
Let me tell you.
It was godlike pizza.
I didn't like pizza crust.
Can I talk?
I didn't even like the idea.
Lenova's was not my special pizza, by the way.
It was.
What is your special pizza? All right, let's get to them. What is your special pizza?
Jake,
It was just pizza. Just pizza was our only pizza, and then Pizza Shack was
even worse.
The bum pizza. Pizza Shack was the
even
bum
worse.
pizza.
First of all of those
Just
places,
pizza is
listen to me,
ass.
all of
Guys,
those
there was
places
just bread and
are
pizza
basically
sauce on their fucking ham.
all of those pizza places that you just named are basically the same pizza and Lenova's, and don't even try to tell me that it wasn't your special pizza place, because I remember the first time that we had it. Matthew, I'm not done. I remember the first time we had it. I went over.
You guys are arguing
and
with
you
each other. I don't want
presented.
this.
You were like, "Oh, we're getting Lenova's tonight. We're gonna have Lenova's pizza. Have you ever had it?" And I was like, "No." And we're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so good! It's the best pizza. You're gonna love this Lenova's pizza." Perfect impression of you. And I was polite, obviously. I ate it, but I was like, "This is not
Jake,
good."
both your parents are local, like from Western New York, born and raised, correct or no?
Yes, unfortunately.
So I very much believe that as much as Buffalo pizza does reign supreme, Western New York pizza, not including Rochester sucks ass. But everything else,
Yeah.
it's all very good, but it all is a very different style. And I think that depending on where your parents grew up, if they're from Western New York, that's the type of pizza you eat.
That's an
Like
point.
we eat a very I eat a very Niagara Falls slice of zot.
Yeah.
Excuse me, when I'm in for a zot, a Buzzies. Like think about a Buzzy slice. That's a thin slice. That's the pie. That's
New York style.
The cornmeal on the bottom. Yeah, real thin. That's good zot. And a lot of pizza places are like
That's
that.
what I don't like.
Pie.
Now that you're talking about it, I don't like the cornmeal on the bottom. That's another deal breaker for me. That's because I kept yelling about the dust. I was like, I fucking hate the dust. It's like Domino's. Domino's uses cornmeal. Come on.
Domino's is
Hey, but this is what I'm saying is before I ate just pizza, I would eat Domino's, I would eat Little Caesars. I would
Now you're going nuts.
No.
What do you
I would
mean?
go get a pizza. If you go get a large pizza from 7-Eleven, it's $7.99.
Yes.
They'll cook it for you there. Not very good. But if you take it home, throw it in the oven on broil for 5 minutes, crisp it up a bit, little crushed red pepper, it turns into a lot better of a zot. Because you just put a little TLC into it, a little tender loving care. Just Pizza? There's no fucking TLC in Just Pizza's
How the fuck
pizza.
do you know? You haven't
That is
had
so
Just
true.
Pizza
That is so
in
true.
the last year. I would guarantee it.
That's a
Why
very
not? It
interesting point,
sucks.
Matthew.
This might be more counterproductive than the debate last night. I don't want to talk to you guys about it because you just don't know.
We do know. Okay.
I
Couple things
know.
here. First and foremost,
I've eaten a lot of pizza in my day.
I think that it is very.
agree with
we've
Matt.
all
We have
eaten a lot
different
of pizza.
tastes.
We've all eaten a lot of pizza. Nobody's on trial for that. I think that it is super interesting, Matthew, is that if you talk about these pizza cities, probably the biggest two, Chicago and New York. I'd even throw Detroit in as a lesser known third. There's a very particular style that you think of, and every place that you go to in those cities has that type of pizza. But in our very little area, there are so many different subsets of pizza that it's fascinating, and people who aren't from the area, they don't realize that. And that is kind of my problem is when the president comes and he goes to the Anchor Bar and he gets wings.
It's disgusting.
That is so fucked up. Let me tell you something. Great for the Anchor Bar for inventing, coming up with the chicken wing. That's wonderful. But if you're going to get wings, you need to go to Duff's. It's so much better, and I get that there's the history or whatever.
Judy's.
I'm saying, even on a small scale, go to Judy's, go to Barville, go to these places where Judy's. Here's my problem with Judy's. This is the only reason. And Marble Inn, didn't you guys used to mac on those wings all the time too?
I will hear no Marb slander. I will hear zero Marb
I would never.
slander. Okay.
You'd have to be a
Slander.
lunatic.
Yeah, that's a good chicken wing.
And Andrew
My
Jericho
thing
will
with Judy's-
join this video chat and kill you. Go.
I really do think that Judy's has good wings. My problem
Yes.
with Judy's, and I don't even want to say it on live air because I haven't been there in so long, and I've had their chicken wings since then, like from pickup, and they're still delicious. But the first time I ever went there as a little kid, they still had one of those, like reusable paper towel machines where it's just one paper towel that goes in a circle and it gets like disinfected.
That ruins it.
I love the Judy's bathroom.
Yeah, that's
just
gross.
Because that is gross. I think they've got a.
Does it
hand
still
dryer
have
now.
that?
No.
I will
You
hear.
got a hand dryer?
Listen,
Okay, then
Judy,
number one.
Judy's
Judy's
got
up there,
revamp.
but not number one. It's up there. Yeah.
Judy's got renovated.
Yeah, it's still
Decent
super dark
now.
in there, but it's really nice.
It looks like a
It
mother's
needs to be
kitchen.
dark in there, though.
Yeah, that's just kind of.
It has to be dark in there
That's a great
because,
spot.
yeah.
I mean, we
It's very
all love
dive
the,
bar-y.
we all love the Marb, but at the same time, if that was a deal breaker at Judy's, like the Marb had cigarettes like put out like in the sauce.
Yeah.
Like it was a biker bar. That place was
Fine. There's
Yeah,
difference
it
between
gave it
what's in my
flavor.
food and what I'm. Yeah, like that's.
That's a good
I
point.
literally watched an episode of New Girl the other day where Nick Miller's making his sauce. He makes the sauce.
the
And
mayo.
they're like, it's got to be the grossest thing ever. He's like, I lost a spider in the sauce, but it turns out to be delicious. Like you need a little extra flavor. I got no
Right.
problem with extra flavor.
That thing
very
about
true.
adding love into it, I think that's such a great point. Not to start yelling at each other again.
TLC, man.
But I think that's the biggest point about those pizza places that you mentioned that for some
Says
reason
the
you
kid
enjoy, Jake,
that
is
eats
because
pizza like he's autistic. If I saw
we've
you
talked
just
about
eating a piece of pizza, you look like you're autistic.
We've talked a lot about pizza tipping before, Jake. Which you don't know because you don't
pizza
listen.
tipping
But
is trending
Did he tell
in
the
North
stupid? Did he tell the
America.
stupid story? Did he tell the stupid
His high
story
school-
in middle school where he got the pizza knocked
Yeah.
off because he holds
Oh,
it like
yeah,
a
we-
fucking bitch?
yeah,
All right,
we've had a lot of conversation about.
I'm glad
that
you-
specific event.
that's
on
his,
this
yeah, that's
podcast.
his big pizza story.
It was
All right.
that was early on. That was prime COVID. I was still recording in our parents' basement. Kind of. That was like one of the very first episodes where we discussed pizza tipping.
Of course,
Yeah,
that's his
it
go-to,
It was
especially
so
with pizza and like
disrespectful.
traumatic experiences.
It was traumatic.
I'm glad that kid, that
Well-
Letterman jacket, whipped it.
It was like one of
To
those
get
like
away-
Stephen Barry's. There was a UB one, and he just popped it like Fonzie, smacked it right out of my fucking hand. So much disrespect. But
Maybe if you
Never
maybe if
stop
you
pizza
gripped it like a human.
no,
Yeah.
because it didn't have any crust. It doesn't have a handle. It doesn't have a handle. Okay, so you
can
have to
bend it.
tip. You have to tip. When
Use
in
your
doubt,
hands.
tip it
That's how
out.
we've gotten as far as a society.
You have to pizza tipping.
Yeah, 'cause you're too
Hashtag
good for
pizza
the pizza.
tipping.
That's why
Get
I
in the
don't trust your
comments.
pizza opinions.
Hashtag pizza tipping is trending on Twitter.
Hashtag grip it. Come on.
Hashtag grip it.
Yeah, strip the pizza.
That's why that's the difference. Jake Lumadue he'll grip the pizza, cover his hand, and do you know what I'm gonna say? One bite of a
Is it
wing.
gonna be the?
One bite of a wing. We got a
We-
When
got-
have I ever done
He's a
that?
leave the meat on the bone kind of guy. He's a leave the
No,
meat on the bone
am-
I
kind of
haven't
guy.
done that
you
since
out.
I was in. What are you talking about?
we got wings.
I haven't done that in years.
It doesn't matter. Because you
did
did
it
it once
when
and
I
it was
was
so
13.
blatant. Here's what happened. So we got 25
This is how
wings.
bad.
We got 25 wings, and there was we had been eating. There might have only been like one left, even, or just a couple left. And
Was
so
this Duff's? Where was this?
no,
I don't even remember.
We
this.
ordered it. We were in our parents' basement. You and Sam and Andrew were all over, and we got some pizza.
Was it
and some
Dave's Wings? That's probably why I took one bite because that place
You
is trash.
bastard. So here's what happened. Jake
that's
picks up a
Don't disrespect James.
a drumstick. We're all kind of like in line with like our little plates, like getting the pizza. Jake picks up a drummy, takes a bite in front of all of us, takes a bite, puts it back in the container, and we go, Jake, what the fuck? And he goes,
Okay, maybe I do remember
I'll come
this.
back for it. Don't worry, I'm coming back for it. The next day, we wake up.
Did you have
it's still
plates?
there.
Was there plates there?
Yeah, there were plates.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
The next day we
yeah.
wake up. There's the fucking wing sitting
where it's
alone
at. I
in
know
the
what it was.
container. So I bagged it up for him and I put it in the fridge for like 2 weeks. until he came over.
That's how petty you are.
That is
petty
so
guy.
true. Jake,
So here's my
that's
thing
why I
with
love
chicken
you, because
wings
you
is-
make me realize like the worst parts of myself. And you're spot on with them. I'm not gonna say you're wrong, but oh my god.
The way you get mad at me for eating chips. For eating, like, I've never craved chips. And you
best-
get mad at me for how I eat chips.
Okay, wait. We gotta rewind. We're getting off
Matt,
topic.
go.
I'm still on the wing thing.
Yeah, a
Sorry.
little bit.
But,
keep going back to
and
the
then
wing
I'm
thing.
diving right into the chips before anybody says a word.
Do it.
When I first started eating chicken wings when we were younger with my grandpa Canada, it was actually, I would have rather, at the time, been a vegetarian than to have to eat a chicken wing in front of him. Because if there was even the slightest morsel of chicken on one bone, when you went to throw that plate on the garbage, you were at risk of being shot with a gun. Like, it was like nothing, and it taught me. So that's kind of why I only love flats, or as our cousin Shannon calls them, two boners. You have your one boners and your two boners. I like
Makes
two
sense.
boners because what I do is I break it, and I break the two bones apart, and I go straight to the gullet, suck them dry. Not an ounce of it. There's not even a leftover tendon on those bones left. Out of respect
That's true.
for the cook of the chicken wing. Now chips. I don't even know where
Yeah.
Jake was going, but I love chips. I will eat chips 24/7.
I'm not a big chip
an
guy.
entire bag in one sitting. I will eat chips with dip. I will eat chips without dip. I love chips. I put chips on my sandwich. I love Cheetos. Chips are an essential part of life. You cannot make a sandwich for lunch
Without putting chips.
and not have either chips or pretzels. And I'll be honest, I don't really love like plain pretzels. I'll eat like Schneider's, like hot buffalo wing pretzels. Very big fan of those.
Can I cut
But
in for a
if you
second?
don't
Are you
eat chips, yes.
doing chips on the sandwich guy?
Oh yeah, I'm a chips on the sandwich and chips on the side guy.
Okay.
I like a little crunch on my sandwich. I've told the Dorito and bologna sandwich on here before, have I not? That was it wasn't even a date. It was the second time I ever met my girlfriend, and I was hammered, and she was driving me home. She was just going to drop me off at my parents' house. It was like almost 5 o'clock in the morning. I invited her in. While I was drunk, she was sober, and I made her eat a Doritos and bologna sandwich on DeCamelo's bread. And it's to this day, she admits that it was absolutely delicious.
This is DeCamelo's bread.
Yeah, the DeCamelo's
bread's-
bread is very important.
I was talking about DeCamelo's bread to a couple friends from the South Towns. It's only a North Towns thing. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, because there's one in Lewiston, there's
Right,
one
that's
in
like
the,
the main
and
one,
then there's
'cause
one in the
they're
Falls.
they're
That's it,
from
right?
Lewiston. Yeah.
I think one in Williamsville. That's it.
Okay.
Oh, really? They
But
got one that far.
before Andrew Canada says his disgusting piece, I just want to say I'm not a big chip guy. Okay, you can go ahead.
Motherfucker. You son of a bitch. You set that up to try and what word am I trying to say?
Discredit you?
Yes, to pre-discredit me. Thank you. The best quote I ever heard about the Lumadue house was
I'm scared.
somebody said to Jake when he was eating like this bag of popcorn. He said, Jake, it's like you have a rule at your house that when you open a bag of chips, you either eat the whole thing in one sitting or you let it go stale. There were so many chip clips, dude. I should have bought you chip clips for like years.
Sorry, I
for
didn't
Christmas.
grow up with a silver spoon in my hand. Chip clips. Ooh,
That's true.
Listen, we had
but
to
here's the
we had to
thing.
fend for ourselves.
You didn't even roll up the bag. The least you could do is roll up the top of the bag for a little bit of protection.
Yeah, because I had slobs
Just-
over my house every weekend.
Oh, now he's calling you a slob.
Wow.
Folks.
Oh my god. Anybody
He had to get up.
anybody who knows me knows that I would never just leave an open bag of chips laying around. And these would be bags of chips just gaping open, just laying around completely still.
What
You
an
have no
adjective.
idea. They were probably opened days ago and just scattered around like bodies on a World War II battlefield.
Andrew, I have a serious question that has nothing to do with this conversation because I'm going to, after I ask this question, swiftly change the subject. For those of you who don't know, Andrew is the host of another podcast as well, Film Juice. It's a movie review podcast. It's very interesting. Now, and this just made me think because I see the poster behind you when you stood up. That's the first time I ever said it. Does the other side of that 2 in the cooler sign say Film Juice?
No.
Do you have one that says Film Juice?
Here's what
I
I
only
do.
have eyes for you, baby.
Here's what I do for Film Juice.
You do not.
It's 2-timing you. Oh, there you go.
And now I'm ready for another podcast.
It's a little behind the scenes for you.
Yep.
Going behind the curtain.
Well, let's switch it back, but I'm a little bit upset about it. Regardless.
The film juice or me, everybody in my house wasting chips.
Everything that I've heard so far today, to be honest.
This
That's
is the
fine.
most
From the
upsetting
time I woke up.
podcast.
Nobody
From the
in my
time I
house
woke
eats
up,
chips. We
I
eat
heard
chips
from the
to
time I woke
entertain.
up, hockey season got postponed again. Andrew told the most depressing story of his life. You told me that
It
you eat
was.
just pizza as your favorite pizza, and now you leave.
Yes.
It's been a bad day, folks. So to try to turn this around, my last ditch effort to try to turn this around, that I'm really excited for, is we have a very interesting who would win of the week, and it's actually the first time we've ever done this, correct? Or did we do it one other time?
No, we talked about doing it once, but we didn't. I don't
Okay.
remember what the one we were
So
thinking about
Jake
doing,
is
but
in the
this is first time
debut.
ever. Yeah.
As I should be.
Yeah, I think
Today's
he's the perfect
who would win
person
of the
for this.
week, I will introduce it, is Ron Burgundy from Anchorman, Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, and Ron, a.k.a. Ronald Reagan from The Oval Office.
Okay, that was one of my first questions. He's in the presidency, like he's
Yeah,
he's
which
held
Reagan
in office.
is this?
Fine, this is all prime.
This has
is
to
all
be President
prime.
Reagan. There's no way this is actor Reagan, and I don't
Yes,
think
it's
it's
President
Governor.
Reagan.
I
No,
would
it's
argue that
President
maybe
Reagan.
Governor Reagan was more so prime Reagan, but I think that this has to be President Reagan.
Like, okay,
So
I'll kick it off.
yeah,
I'll
please.
kick it off here.
Yeah, get into it.
I'm just working a lot of things out of my head. I've only had a little bit of time to process this. I mean, President Reagan took a bullet. Ron Burgundy has definitely been active in street fighting. I don't know what Ron Swanson, does he get a gun? Can he? I think he's got weird dad strength, and I really gotta take.
Have you ever watched Parks and Recreation, Jake? Did put
Yes,
you on the
I
spot?
have. Oh yeah, absolutely. You kidding me?
So is
That
Ron
man-
He's a
Swanson
big
not
fan.
the manliest?
No. He
It's not
is.
even-
He's a man. He's a man's man, and he like can hit people. But like, the only time I've ever seen him hit someone is at Leslie's wedding. Like, I don't think he's ever beaten the shit out of anybody.
Well, he won't do
extremely
it without a
controlled.
reason, right? So we just
Yeah,
have to
he's
assume
right.
that he
extremely
has a
controlled.
reason in this case, whatever it may be.
He is a master of every situation that he's in.
Okay, so Ron Swanson's definitely going to go for Ronald Reagan to start off with because he's a libertarian. He doesn't want government.
But
So-
I also feel that if Ron Swanson ever had to choose a president, he may choose Ronald Reagan.
It's not
Have you
bad.
thought about
Yeah.
that?
That's tough.
Here's
I have.
I do agree
Yeah.
with the points that you made so far, Jake. And this is one that I still do not know who I'm going to pick. So I'm very intent in everybody's points that are being made. What I will say is, I think the first person, I don't even know if I like that. Part of me wants to say that Ron Burgundy is at a large disadvantage versus these two because he, as much as he is also like an old school, like man's man in a sense, he is very like,
He's the least enabled.
He has some femininity to him, which is not a problem by any means. But I think in this case, that may be where he alters from the other two.
Yes, I'm agree.
Still thinking through it, Andy. What are you thinking?
Well, I think that's an interesting point. There is sort of a flamboyance to Ron Burgundy, but that's just because he's because he's a newsman and because he's stylish. But I think that particularly at that time in the 70s, there was a melding of those two things. Like Ron Burgundy, when he puts those fists up, unfortunately I can't remember what their names are.
Yeah, I don't remember what he names them. Yeah.
I don't know.
Dang,
but
you
know what? I'm Rick Carl. No, fuck. What is it? I know Paul Rudd's penis is Dr. Kenneth Noisewater. That's one of his testicles, and he calls his dick the octagon.
Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary. Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary are the names of his fists.
I mean, come on. That tells you something right there. Tom O'Leary, baby. You getting that Tom O'Leary? You're toast. So
I think I'm kicking. Oh, go.
So I think that, heck, maybe they'll even underestimate him a little bit, right? In that sense, because he's got that sort of, flamboyancy to him. But I definitely think that he'd be able to hold his own. Ron Swanson, the amount of like old school like dad strength, like Jake said, is definitely big for him. I think. He's definitely good at reading people as well. He's strong, very determined. Ronald Reagan, I think, has definitely no qualms about, if you're like, I'll sock you one, hippie, or whatever. And the thing about Reagan
he hates hippies.
Is with Reagan's, dementia, he could get the crap beat out of him. He won't even remember it, so he'd just keep getting back up.
I think this is pre-dementia Reagan, though.
Nah.
I mean, if he's in the presidency, he's eating jelly beans and shit.
Yeah, because he's got dementia.
But
okay,
I think I have my answer. I think it's Ron Swanson because you have to put them in similar situations. If any of those three get dropped into the bear at the end of that movie, which one of those people are fighting those bears and succeeding? I think it's Ron Swanson.
I love that, and so to back that up, I think that it's very close between Swanson and Reagan, and I think it's very close between all three. But I'm gonna have to put. I'm gonna go, and we're still not totally done, but I'm gonna go from 3 to 1. I'm gonna go third place, Burgundy, second place, Reagan, just above Reagan, Swanson, and that's a lot because I was raised believing that Ronald Reagan is literally the god of the earth based on the fact that that's our father's favorite president. We actually have a full-size cardboard cutout of him in our basement, as do we of Ron Burgundy.
Yep.
Yeah, you do.
We need one. I was going to say, we need one around
to complete the
Swanson.
trifecta. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we could, yeah.
We could play this out for real.
Yeah. I was actually just thinking, it is Halloween time. We could probably get masks of all three and just fight each other.
I could get on
to the
that.
That's a good idea.
We could make a. This is completely off topic, but we should make a sequel to Trying Out for the Heat, but that fight.
We're gonna talk about that as soon as we wrap up this segment. Don't worry.
Okay. Oh, goody.
I don't know. This is tough. I think that I'm going to. I don't know. They all have that very
It's a charisma almost.
There's a charisma, certainly. There's definitely a similar energy where they're all kind of punch you in the face while holding a glass of scotch. They all have that energy about about
They're
them.
all man's men, and that's why
they all smell like wood.
Yes, they all smell like wood. which I think is what makes this so difficult.
They all probably ate pretty much strictly red meat, drank a lot of scotch.
That's for sure.
But I think at the end of the day, Ron Swanson is just, he knows how to do everything. He is a man. And as much as Ronald Reagan was also a man, he also was the president. And I feel like that even takes a little bit, not of his manlyhood, but like of his toughness away. Like, I mean, maybe that was then, because I'm just saying now you don't necessarily look at the president as like a tough as nails person that's going to fight their own fights. But I guess, that was a little bit, I don't know. I for some reason mentally, I do think it's Swanson, Reagan, Burgundy. That's I'm going to lock in right now, in fact, and say that I am taking Swanson.
I think that I'm going to have to lock in my answer for Swanson as well, because I think, like, let's say that all three of them are just standing in a circle punching each other in the face. Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to, who falls last. And I think Reagan's going to go down first. And then I think that after a while, Burgundy is going to go down. And I think that Ron Swanson's just going to stay solid for the whole time. I think Ron Burgundy is going to last quite a bit because he just sort of has that about him where, you know what I'm saying.
Toledo Express.
Yeah. But I think that Ron Swanson's going to be able to stay sturdy and upright the whole time. Yeah, so I'm going to have to take Swanson too.
It's a clean sweep. I think it has to be Swanson, just putting him situationally. If it's just a straight up brawl, fist fight, like we're talking about, there's no Secret Service, there's no party cutting in. I mean, it's the obvious answer.
Yeah, I think you're right. Who do you have at 2 and 3, Jake?
I would say Ron Burgundy too. Because Ronald Reagan's an old demented man at that point,
but he could still take a hit. And like I said, he would not remember the.
He's more metal than man at that point. I mean, he took a bullet. You're right.
That's true.
He took a bullet.
But Ron Swanson got his fought
a bear.
He got his pinky toe shot off with a nail gun, and he laughed about it. So Swanson still takes this.
And yes.
That's a good. All right, well, I guess we're locked in. We'll send it to Twitter, but I wouldn't be surprised if they agree. I think that's a really good matchup, the three of them.
It would be a very interesting fight to watch, but I really just think that
very much
that
like
Swanson
old school, like those out of shape
wasted pants.
Yes, exactly. Fisticuffs. So Jake, I notice obviously that you're wearing a Miami Heat shirt. The NBA Finals is starting tonight.
Let's go Lakers.
Are you taking? Let's start there. Who are you going to take? Who are you taking? Well, who do you want to win, and who do you think is going to win?
It's Lakers in 6, and I want the Lakers to win because
I don't think there's no doubt that the Lakers are going to win for sure.
Yes,
but I am inclined to root for the Miami Heat because you said the other day, and I hope you were serious about this. There's a video.
You know what? I am.
There's a video, and you said that. Well, I
it's
said
the
that
dirtiest secret I have.
I said that you should release it today because I think this is the perfect time. Well, it's out there, but I said you should post it on your Instagram so that everybody can see it.
I want girls to talk to me. No. You out of your mind?
Fair enough. But also but that's so funny. Like, there's such a
Matt, do you know what this video is? You've definitely seen this video. For the people that don't know what this video is, when we were, I think, 15, 16 years old, like sophomore, I think the summer from freshman to sophomore year.
That might be right.
the Heat were at the peak of
It might
powers,
have even been a year before.
and
that.
I was a little. Okay, it might have been 8th grade to freshman year, and the Heat were at the peak of their powers. I was a little chunky fat kid, and they said, "You know, it'd be fucking hilarious if you took your shirt off and just threw a basketball and played like the worst basketball of your life."
I know what this video is.
So
I don't know why or where I've seen it, but I can vividly picture this video.
That's
my titties all going around.
It's in your driveway, right? It's in your driveway?
In my driveway.
Yep.
There were 6 kids off camera laughing their ass off at me with 8 sweatbands.
That's
throwing, like,
that's
playing
what
the
I thought
worst
was
out
the
of my
funniest part is just because you looked so ridiculous. Because you had the reason that we did that is because you were wearing a shooting sleeve. And we were making fun of you for that, and we were like, "What does this guy think he's trying out for the Miami Heat?" So we filmed this whole like Miami Heat tryout video for Jake, and there's like this small like kind of interview portion that's amazing, and
Hoopers are the best part of that.
oh yeah, I agree. So it's oh man,
But
it's so I filmed.
There's a full 3. Just imagine there's like shirtless 14-year-old Jake, and there's just like a 360 shot all around my head.
It was amazing.
And I'm wearing these stupid like neon headbands, and I'm like furious, sexy, seducing, like crazy weird shit.
Yeah, that was so much fun. We did it on the iPhone. My iPhone. I shot it, and then I put it all together to the song what's it? That Power by Childish Gambino.
Gambino, yeah.
It's
Love Childish Gambino.
It's
if the Heat win, I'll release the video.
You have
it
to.
Will
Jake.
be
You have
if
to.
they win. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. Yeah, absolutely, I'll do it.
And that is why look. We all know that the Lakers are going to win.
Yes.
And I do I do want the Lakers to win kind of, but I just want the Heat to win so bad because Jake, the world needs to see that video, man. It's so incredible, and I just want it to be released. So that's kind of what we talked about.
I sent it to our one friend Bill Black, I think 2 days ago, and he texted me on the side. There's a whole segment where he like pump fakes me out and just like steals my ball, and we run down the street. He looks fast. He still looks fast. And he was just saying, "Look at how fat you look." He's just running down the street after me.
We yeah, we shot a lot of like outtakes to that particular like.
There was a dunking thing where it was just the hardest
so
cut,
funny.
like the.
Yeah.
And it was totally on purpose. We could
it's a
have made it look good.
video.
We just chose not to.
I won't say I'm obviously not going to tell anybody where to find it because hopefully you'll be releasing it on your Instagram in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that kind of brings me to like another interesting fact about Jake Lumadue and your place in history, specifically the history of basketball. The sweatband, the sweat headband was something that kind of stuck around with Jake. Like he would wear it all the time. And as we all know, probably the most famous headband of all time is the one worn by LeBron James throughout high school, throughout, his time in Cleveland, his time in Miami, his time going back to Cleveland. So Jake and some friends of ours, we went to Cleveland to go see the Heat when they had, what year was that? It was probably 2015, right?
We went to the Cavs the first year.
Oh, yeah, the Cavs game.
We went to go see the Cavs the first year. And he went back. We played the Phoenix Suns. I think it was after Christmas because Rico got for his Christmas gift.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so, they had Kevin Love and Kyrie and LeBron James were like their big three guys. And so we go, and we had these cool seats. We were at like the top of the 100 level, right behind the basket. And Jake, of course, like before the game, we're like walking around the stadium and, we want to get some like souvenirs or whatever. There's a Cleveland Cavaliers headband. And we're like, oh, Jake, you have to buy this. You're like the headband guy. You have to get it. So Jake
see how they bully me?
On. Huh? Yeah.
He said, see how they bully me.
So
Dance monkey.
Jake puts the headband on, and the thing about Jake has a great head of hair, and the headband, as the night progressed, the headband like slowly like kept moving up his head, so that it was basically like just on his hair at one point. The Cavs are down, and there's a huddle. LeBron goes into the huddle, and he takes off the headband, and he never put it back on. He has not worn a headband in a game since. And the reason is because he looked up and saw what Jake looked like with a headband on.
Saw Jake Lumadue.
And said that, oh, if that's what I look like, I'm not ever wearing a headband again. And since that night, that was the first night, he took it off. We saw him take it off, and he's never worn one again since.
I find it absolutely ridiculous that you tied me to that. I don't think it was that at all.
But that's what
we
happened.
had good seats. We didn't have that good of seats.
But he could have seen.
Okay,
and I think he did. I think we made eye contact at one point.
He took it off, and then they started winning. Yes, I don't think it had anything to do with me.
I'm
flattered.
That's a big coincidence, though.
Giant coincidence, but I'm pretty sure he's worn a headband this year at the Lakers. But I think he just got over me. Like, I'm on the other coast. You can't find me here.
Right. He thinks he's far enough away from you at this point that he could get away with putting the headband back on. Well, we're going to have to go to another game.
All I want to say is that this has potential to be a very popular YouTube video if you clip that and clickbait it as the reason that LeBron James stopped wearing a headband. And it was Jake Lumadue.
It does.
Make LeBron
so
with no headband on. Like, get a picture of LeBron with no headband on, Photoshop it behind, like, some fireworks, like a bold background, and then, like, some big, bold text, and then, like, a picture of, like, Jake from when he was little. Like that would be perfect.
Fat Ellen DeGeneres doing. Oh, no.
Get me a coffee. Don't look at me.
Well,
let's wrap up.
Wow.
There's one.
Yeah.
Would you mind telling the McDonald's story before we go, Jake? Because I love that story.
I thought you were going to bring up my mustache, but yeah, okay, that's fine.
It's hard to see.
Jake, that was the first thing I noticed.
But
I was actually going to ask if is that a Josh Allen related mustache, or is that
That's just
a mustache?
I don't have a goatee anymore. Yeah, I had a goatee, and then
Okay.
I cut it, and then people started saying that looks fucking disgusting, and I just went, I'm keeping it. Fuck you guys. And now we
I don't know.
here.
I love that.
I agree. I don't know if you could tell.
I'll shave it when I'll shave it when they lose.
I started
you got
growing
one
a beard.
You look good.
Well, I started growing a beard. Yeah, I do shave the muzzy pretty regularly. It grows back weird, but started growing a little beard. I don't know. It's coming in, you know. And I think that my plan is also to leave the beard for as long as the Bills win until the end of October, and then shave the beard because then it's Movember. It's muzzy season.
It's Movember.
It's all up in here. Yeah, it's all up in here at that point. McDonald's story. Sorry to get off track on facial hair.
No, you're fine. When I was, it attributes a lot of my brain damage to this day. So when I was probably 4, 5, those giant, glorious giant play pens that they used to have in the McDonald's, like not like the regular ones that were like in the side, but like the ones you could see from outside. You're like, holy shit, these are like
the ones that like they popped out of the they had the glass too.
Oh, yeah. So I was there after something with my grandparents and my parents, and I had for some reason I got bloody noses as a kid. Or no, maybe I didn't.
No, that's not
anyway, so I had allergies. I had allergies as a kid. So I looked. My parents were eating, and they were calling me down for the food because it's like a big event with the food. But like, I was all the way up top, and the top has like that window bubble. Everyone knows like the giant window bubble at the very top that everyone tries to get to, right? So my grandparents are like holding me down, and then just see me.
Wait, don't forget Kevin.
Go back for a. Kevin was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said that.
I cock back. I hit my nose as hard as I can on the front window of this McDonald's bubble Blood goes
window bubble?
everywhere. Yeah, it looks like a velociraptor came out of nowhere in Jurassic Park and like splat blood. Like just the entire window was covered in my blood. And I had, you might know this is a completely different story. Before extreme pain, I will pause for like 5 seconds, and then when I was a kid, just go, ah! And then just do that. Because I'm going to bring this up. Matt, do you remember the one time me and you grabbed your dad's lap band, took it 15 yards, you slipped your hand, went right in my stomach, and I had to like take laps around the house because my stomach was purple?
I don't remember, but it sounds like something that I probably did on purpose.
Ask your mother.
Your
mother remembers
hysterical.
Me.
It sounds very funny that happened.
That was a big like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. But yeah, so my grandpa and my dad were like racing to the top, and my grandpa got stuck, and they had to like help him out because I was like hemorrhaging up because I was too close, and I think I got a concussion, and that's probably what explains me.
Concussions are a myth, but that's hysterical. I feel so bad about the grandpa getting stuck part, but it just makes the story better.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Is also stuck the last thing screaming.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say before we wrap up here, Andy, and this is going to be brief, but do you remember that like playground at the Jurassic Park part of Universal Studios? Do you remember? There was a day, and we were young, and I've been back in it since, and I literally looked for the part. But you know how like in those playgrounds there would be those parts where there's like the ledge, and then you actually drop down, and there's another ledge, and then they drop and they're like side by side.
It's you know
what I'm talking about? They're like triangles in the corners. It's like platforms that how you get down. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jake?
Yes,
Yes, I can. So there was one of those, but on the other side of the platform that you could like climb onto from the bottom platform, there was like another room of the playground, and in that room they had like dinosaur sounds coming.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know if it was dark or I was little or I was stupid. I was probably it was probably a combination of all three. But I was genuinely convinced that there was like where the missing platform was on the top tier to get down to the platform on the second tier, that it was just a black hole of nothingness, and that's where the dinosaur sounds were coming from. And you couldn't get back up the way that we came from. And I remember being so scared, like I have to jump this gap, and if I fall, I'm getting eaten. And it scarred me for a really long time. Like I still will remember that. Like wow, like one, was I dumb, but two, was that really scary or what?
Well,
do you remember that, Andy?
Yeah, I remember that very, very well. There was just this big dark area, and we were climbing down, and then this T-Rex noise comes out, and we were just stuck and crying, and then some older kids, who were probably like 8. Like came and like helped us find our parents. That was
alpha dogs.
Alpha dogs. That's right. It was pretty intense.
That was scary.
We were a Disney family.
Between that and seeing somebody get kidnapped at Fantasy Island, I can't believe that I still like amusement parks. But I do. I like roller coasters. So.
What a time.
All right. Well, do you got any closing remarks, Andy?
Jake, I feel like I could do this podcast for probably 3 hours, and.
No, I know you can, and that's why I'm trying to keep us on track.
We could have so many more disagreements.
I'll be on again. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll come back with points, and like I'll do research. I know you sprung this on me pretty late, and I think you did that on purpose, so I didn't have time to research. But we're destined to do this.
Dig up all the old skeletons out of your closets of things.
Yeah, he's remembering like weird times I took one bite out of the wings when
that's the stuff.
And he flips the script. And he flips the scripts on stories, like the story of when he swung a baseball bat.
I do not flip the script. Everything I tell is 100%.
And wait, Andy swung a bat one time. When?
No, I didn't. That's the whole point of the story.
In the back of your head. No. I hit Kevin. I accidentally turned around and hit Kevin with a snow shovel when he was over my shoulder one time, and he blames everything on that.
Like a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Yeah, and he's like, I could have been 6'4".
That happened to me when I was younger too. When our father was building our old playground, I was like literally in diapers, could barely walk. Like wobbling behind him, and he was carrying a pole. And I said, like, Dad. And he turned around and legit smacked me across the side of the head with the pole. All right. On that note, I do think it's time to wrap this one up, Andy.
Okay.
I know we could go on forever, but we've been going for over an hour here, so I'm sure people are just as sick of us as we are of each other at this point.
True.
Jake, thank you a ton for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was an absolute joy.
Yeah, we had a blast today. Talked about some funny things. Talked about how bad your taste in pizza is.
You're funny. You make me laugh.
I'm sure we'll definitely have to have you back on for that reason alone. Andy, anything to say to the folks?
No, Jake, I love you, buddy. I'm so glad that you came on. I've been wanting to have you on for so long. You have the best stories, and I'm glad that we can yell at each other about stuff.
Love you too. I'm glad I just made it before Drico and Bill.
All right.
Thank goodness. No offense to either of them.
Let's get out of here.
Andy, take care.
All right.